I honestly had forgotten how energetic that was. My range bag is now soaked. Hey everybody, this is Jerry Nines. We're going to talk about plastics. You know, in the, I think it was 1964 movie, The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman, where he links up with like his girlfriend's mom or something like that. At one point, just graduated from college, he's at his graduation party, and a guy pulls him aside and says, son, you know, the future is plastics. And we're going to talk about the future in plastics right now. But before we get to that, if you ever wanted to bang your friend's hot mom, go ahead and like and subscribe down below. And let's talk about plastic training ammunition. I actually discovered this stuff back in late 80s, early 90s. The first batch that I ever saw was made by Dynamit Nobel, which is a foreign gunpowder company. See, the Nobel Peace Prize is named after them. Long story about why. This is what this box looks like. So if you can read that, you can see this is, I do read French, 50 cartridges of instruction, plastic, caliber, 9mm parabellum, and then a lot number. So these are 9mm plastic training cartridges. I've also heard them called maneuver cartridges. I've seen the Gecko has produced some of these, but I've actually had these for a long time. I bought like a couple of cases of them once. They were closed up from someplace and they cost me almost nothing. And I've used them as training aids when I train new shooters, and we're going to show you why here in just a second. Even though you get flash and blast and a projectile, notice I am wearing ear and eye protection, what you don't get is recoil. And in fact, you also don't get the slide cycling, the action cycling, so you don't have to do that manually. From a training perspective, that gets really interesting because you can expose new shooters to the things that make them flinch while at the same time being able to watch the gun. And these are fairly accurate. So, oh, and before we get started, and I'm going to demonstrate this afterwards, do not point these at people. These will put a hole in you. And I firmly believe that with the proper amount of bad luck, you can kill someone with these or kill yourself. You can certainly injure yourself. So even though these are maneuver or training cartridges and they're plastic, they are, in my opinion, quite lethal. Now, they do have reduced range because they have almost no mass, but we are about 6 yards from our target. We do have some hits on this target already from some other training that I was doing, but you'll notice that the head is not yet impacted by any rounds. That is a clean target. The head is a clean target. And so that's what we're going to shoot. Again, we're going to put some rounds through this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about during each round, and I'm going to show you why you should never ever point this at anyone unless you would point it at somebody in a justifiable lethal force situation. Not that I'm advocating that you use these in such a scenario, but these are dangerous. This is deadly force in my opinion. Loads just like a regular 9mm parabellum. I've been told two things. I've been told that there's an ultra strong primer in here. I've been told that there's a regular primer in there. I've been told that there's a small amount of propellant in here. And the reason I've never actually messed around with it is because you have to cut them open because it's all one solid piece of formed plastic, or it seems like it. Unless that's press fit in, I don't know. But it may be scored and that's how it separates. But anyway, let's go ahead and see what it looks like to get one of these in the gun. Okay, so we're loaded up and I'm gonna get fairly close to the camera so you can see A, if I flinch, and B, the lack of recoil or any other movement on the gun itself. We're gonna go for some headshots. Note the total lack of recoil. I mean, just a tiny little bump, right? Really allows you to expose the shooter to all the things, like I said, that make them make mistakes, except for recoil. You can obviously test that separately, or correct that separately and test for that. Should be almost done. Okay. Let's go and take a look at this target. So these are, and I've always found them to be, very, very accurate rounds. They're very light. I would think that we probably, initially it looked like the rounds were maybe hitting a little bit low, and so maybe I just corrected for that without meaning to, but as we can see, we're going to take a walk up. You're really not going to ask for a better group than that. So again, these plastic training cartridges are great, and they do a lot of things very, very well. Or you're excited for the demonstration to come, go ahead and be sure to like and subscribe. Other ways you can support the channel down below. I really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and show you what I got to show you with these plastic training rounds. One of the things they don't do very well is prevent you from getting hurt if you're stupid. So let's go ahead and take a look at this really quickly. Get a little demonstration set up. Here's a gallon jug of water. Here's our cleared Wilson SFX9. We're going to take one of our plastic training rounds, put in the magazine, get that loaded up. Again, plastic training doesn't mean less than lethal. I honestly had forgotten how energetic that was. My range bag is now soaked. My ammo bag is soaked. But let's look at the jug. It is absolutely split halfway around. And if we recreate the hole, we can see that it did not penetrate through, but we see the huge bow outward. So what happened here was the projectile hit here in the middle and created so much hydrostatic shock that it pushed it all out, one big hole, ripping everything along the way. I don't know where the round is, but again, I think that really illustrates that these plastic training rounds, if you can find, I don't know if you can find them anymore. I believe they're all made by the same place, even though, like I said, Dynamite Nobel has some that are branded for them. These that are sort of without branding came, I think, from a government contract that they then decided to get rid of, or maybe it was an overrun. Either way, I've seen them in 32 ACP, actually have some in 32 ACP. I've seen them in 9mm. I've seen them in Browning, 50 BMG Browning, 50 cal. And I think that's it. That's what 7.62, certainly. So they're out there, and they definitely have some applicability. They definitely are accurate, as we just saw, and they definitely will hurt you if misused. So with that, I thought you'd just enjoy a look at these. As always, have a great and safe day. Train, 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 and God bless America.